Post up comment or whatever. Yep, that's StreamYard and YouTube influence to make my life more difficult. Well done, assholes. Oh, for fuck's sake. How many times do I have to repost this fucking comment? And I'll repost it again and again and fucking again because these pieces of shit won't let me fucking do the damn thing from YouTube. And I will continue to fucking repost this comment throughout the fucking discussion because this is getting irritating as fuck. The only reason why I don't have the camera on is because I look like absolute dog shit right now. Not because of any other reason. Oh, my fucking cup of coffee, damn it. Seriously, stop spinning around in circles, man. Because I can feel you bouncing around back there like as if you're a fucking bouncy ball. It's not funny. Oh, shit. So if you don't know about it, folks, there is a bill in the Senate and in the House to ban militias and specifically ban the action of being a Minuteman, not just the militias, but you personally going out and aiding your community with whatever means you may find necessary. We all know this to be an act of treason. We all know this to be a situation where if you're a law-abiding citizen, you know this to be an outright act of treason. If you're a lawmaker, you know this to be an outright act of treason. And if you are in any action whatsoever in the sense of a Minuteman or the militias, you outright know that this is a direct threat to your life, livelihood, and safety, as well as the safety of the community, because that's what we do. That's what we're all out here to do. We're here to add to the public safety, not to fucking wreck from. So, without I do open up the discussion. Anybody, all, make in and talk and can do what you wish to. Please take part. Let's hear what you got to say, because apparently Americans everywhere need to start fucking speaking up. And if you're not going to speak up, then when they come to your home to take away your guns, to take away your food, to take away your children, and to conscript you into a military to go do that to other people, and you get shot off of the other people's doorstep for doing so, on your own heads be it. Because at some point in time, you all know this is wrong. I wish that fucking lady would have just fucking parked where her goddamn motorhome would have let her. Seriously. Swear to God, it takes a fucking rocket scientist and a half to do this shit. Could you move forwards? Well, could you park where your machine is actually supposed to be parked and not on the side where it's for cars? Because, yeah, I can move forward, but you can also park where you're supposed to. There's plenty of parking there. Anyways, I digress because of aggress. I digress because of aggro. Anyways, please do enjoy the validity and ability to discuss with me, whether on the panel or in the chat. If you can't get up on panel for some reason or another, I understand. But do so. Let's discuss this bullshit. Yeah, no, I know that. This is a situation of, look, we only have so many weeks, months, what have you, until they vote on this shit. Voice and tell them to go and fuck themselves with a damn sandy dildo. Because let's be fair and honest, it is completely contra to the foundation of this country. It is literally telling you as an American citizen, you may not go out in any capacity whatsoever and help your neighbors unless you are part of the American fucking state militias, federal militias, which means the military, guys. This does not mean the fucking real militia. The real militia is you and I. We're talking, they are literally stripping the power of the individual American citizen. They will take away your guns. They will take away the right to have high cap mags. They'll take away your fucking ability to go just have fun. This is a shit show of epic fucking proportions. Y'all know it. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Because we're not the ones allowed to vote on it. So I want to point out to you where this is happening. This is in the Senate and the House. There's only two, maybe there's like 5 supporters total in both. It's not really going to pass, but we need to make sure that everybody understands what our view on this is. Because trust me, my view on it is, fuck you, the horse you came in on, and I'd be more than happy to show you the rope. Everything that is in these bills is unlawful. Yes, does involve jail time. No 3 people can impart. Well, no. No one individual person Let's be clear. They're talking about the American people, not the fucking, not the state militias or any of that. They're talking about you and me. They're saying that I cannot train on my own. You cannot train on your own. That is what these bills are saying. I've read them. There is specific parts of these bills that say that no individual American or group of Americans. Let's be clear. That part that says no individual American means nobody, not a singular person, may go out and train in order to protect themselves and their families. It is so fucking unlawful on its face that I am surprised that these people are even legislators and have not been dragged out by the fucking federal police. Because let's be clear, this is a capital crime. To introduce such legislation is a capital crime. It is an act of constitutional treason. That is a capital crime. And that's not just my opinion, by the way. That's actual, that's how the fucking laws read previously. It's against the Militia Act. It is a capital crime to introduce any legislation that would reduce an American citizen of their right and ability to stand to their nation's defense in the defense of the Commonwealth. That legislation reduces the individual American citizen's ability. It is an act of outright treason. These people need to be dragged out right fucking now. Let's not fucking bandy bullshit about it. Capitol Police, you need to arrest these people. The charges are out there. The charges are direct. I'll wait until the asshole leaves. The charges are direct and they are very clear. Treason. Actions against American citizens. Actions against the militia. These bills are evidence direct of an action of treason. I'm not talking out of the side of my neck. I'm not saying something that isn't true. I'm just simply saying something that should be fucking obvious. If you're a lawyer, if you've got any kind of understanding of the law, if you've ever had any time in the Senate or in the House, if you've ever got any fucking history lessons about America, you know this is an act of treason. Benedict Arnold did not have so much fucking goddamn gumption. Now, I'm a law-abiding citizen, but I'll tell you what, the moment they outlaw the militia, I will be a fucking outlaw, and I tell you what, I will march for fucking sure on these sons of bitches wherever they go, wherever they are, whatever they do. I declare outright my opposition to this. I understand fully and completely what that entails and what it means. I will never support such actions against American citizens. You are my people. You are my brothers and sisters. I would never support such actions, ever. As a matter of fact, if somebody told me, well, they're making it illegal, I'd tell them that cannot pass. Even if it got a unanimous vote, it is outright constitutionally unlawful, cannot be passed by Congress. It would be an act of what literally creates the defunct, the void specific of Congress. Our government would be outright null and void in the moment that they vote yes on this. And any politician that is in that action is themselves worse than Benedict Arnold. And fuck that traitor. And it's all the same fucking people that are acting all these different acts of treason, by the way. It's all the same representatives in Congress. You know it. Nobody else is fucking standing up for this shit. Nobody else is allowing it. It is outright acts of treason. And I don't give a shit if you're a veteran or not. You know this to be an act of treason. I don't give a shit if you're a fucking Congress member or not. You know this to be an act of treason. If you are an American with any foundation in the American history, it is an act outright of treason. Yeah, when you tear out, look, there you go. These are the words of our founding fathers, motherfuckers. And I'm not looking for an echo chamber here. I'm looking for you all to understand exactly what the fuck is going on, and let's discuss this shit. Let's be real about it. Let's be raw about it. I don't give a shit who speaks up. I don't care if you don't like what I have to say, and I honestly don't care if I like what you have to say. I want to hear it all. This isn't trying to stop bad actors. This is trying to stop you from exercising your rights. You bet your ass I'm angry. I ain't even had my coffee this morning. I woke up to this shit. This is trying to stop people like me from helping people out there in the public. Simply a helping hand to pull someone out of the gutter. You will have no official capacity to do so. You'll have no unofficial capacity to do so. It's against the carrying of arms and ammunition in the United States. I agree, cuz. And yes, it is in an attempt to try to stop good actors. You're absolutely correct about that. We know this. It's just a question of, can we stop it? Can we stop these people from doing this? I think it's time we bring back the Confederacy. The South must rise again. Not that the South will rise again, the South must rise again. And it's not just gonna be the South, son. This needs to be every single state in the union. This needs to be every individual American. You know me, I've never wanted to be the man to affect the third political box. Because I think that, the whole thing of warfare and death is wrong. But at that, at some point, something's got to give, guys. This is stopping, honest American citizens from their everyday capability of protecting other Americans. And while we know these bills will not have any kind of clout in the Senate or House, and I understand that. Okay, look, I understand that outright it's dead on arrival. That does not mean that this action itself does not denote a larger problem. And that larger problem is that our government, we have extremely bad actors in our government. There needs to be some form of repercussion for this. Yes, if they kill the militia, they kill the Second Amendment. If they kill the militia, they kill the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. All of them fall afterwards. You need to be calling your state representatives and screaming at the top of your lungs that this is wrong and that whoever is the one who introduced this bill needs to be brought up on charges of treason. Constitutional political treason. Every bit of this is unlawful. You need to be beating down the doors of Congress with this. You will not be able to fix fences in front of your house because that is a militia action. That is an action of the military. That is an action of you defending your home, defending what you have. This isn't just an action against the militias. This is an action against individual Americans to be able to protect themselves from untoward action. This is specifically geared against the actual disorganized militia. the people being so armed and willing to stand to the defense not only of our nation, but of our brothers and sisters of America. That is what this is against. It's not just against, bad actors in the fucking the militia groups, the paramilitary groups. It's not just against them. The wording of this is what's important, not the freaking titles. You need to be paying attention to that. This isn't out there to stop Blackstone. This isn't out there to stop BlackRock or Blackheart. This is out there to stop good Americans like you and I. I call this legislation the Benedict Arnold of legislation. They will care when jackbooted thugs are beating down their front doors and their neighbors are not capable of stopping this. They will care when they are sitting there staring down the fucking gun of military personnel forcing their way into their homes, stealing their food, killing their pets, raping their children and their wives. People will care then. Trust in me now, believe me later. It has happened once already in this nation. It is my belief we need to reinstitute the Quantiles Raiders. If this is going to come to fruition, and I hate to say that because it's pretty fucked up, man. If anybody knows the history of Quantiles Raiders, you understand what I'm suggesting. Once these particular bills were to pass, which we know they won't, but if this can even be suggested as legislature without repercussions, then there is no recourse. Every one of you and everyone like me will become outlaws. You will not be allowed to defend yourself in your own homes. because I believe that only the ones who are willing to flout the law will be able to survive it. In this particular, you have to be willing to break the law. That's how bad this is. It will be a situation where you will have no choice. My finger, that's good. That's coffee. Yeah, I'm making my coffee as we speak because guess what? I woke up to this shit. Anyone who has specific training like I do, we are going to be public enemy number one because we'll be the ones who are capable and willing to train others. Yes, I believe that if this law is even heard by the House and the Senate, then we need to be ready because it is an act of tyranny and it is that act of outright treason. And that any American that goes along with it is in that essence specific in an act of treason. Let's be clear. This is a situation that's so bad. If you're a Knight of Columbus, do you understand what the Knights of Columbus do? They go out and they literally help the homeless, man. They go out and they try to help people who cannot help themselves, the disabled, the infirmed. It would make the Knights of Columbus an unlawful organization. I was a Knight of Columbus. Matter of fact, I'm a third-degree Knight of Columbus. Let that blow your minds. I'm not even a Catholic so much anymore. But I'm actually a third-degree Knight of Columbus. Like I said, I'm not looking for an echo chamber. Everybody lay back off of people who might have a different opinion. Try to tell them what the actual case is, but you know, this is a situation where it's far worse than anybody could imagine. They're literally stopping you from getting up off your rear end and going and helping people. This isn't to try and stop people from going and starting wars and shit. This isn't an effort to try and stop people from helping people. Say you see somebody who's out there sweeping the roads, literally walking around with a broom in hand. If they are not employed by the state, it would be an act of militia. It would be basically a paramilitary act, and you would go to prison for no less on for every offense afterwards, no less than 2 years. Folks, something's got to give. You know it, and I know it. Something's got to give. If it don't, well, I can't tell you what to do. I can't help you. All I can say is God bless you all, and I hope to God we do not go into that fucking good night. And if we do not go quietly. I would pray that Americans have the gumption to stand up for themselves. I'm talking about the anti-militia and anti-paramilitary acts of 2024. Right now being introduced in Congress. Right now being introduced in the House and the Senate. That doesn't mean that they've been voted on. It doesn't mean they've been passed, and they do not have the ability to pass, in my general opinion. The declared supporters in the House, I believe, is 5 individuals. Only 5 individuals. The supporters in the Senate is 1 individual. The very fact that anybody would support such things should tell you something, Joe. That anybody would even allow such things to be heard should tell you something. It doesn't matter that they'll pass. It matters that they will be heard. The very fact that an act of treason would be heard by Congress. And the fact, yes, right there, character, you're right. You are absolutely correct in that. There are only a few supporters now, but guess what? They will keep on trying to slip it in every single bill afterwards. I'll tell you what, on that day, you will find me to be a fucking force of nature. On that day, I will stand against police. I will stand against federal actors, because if they're going to enforce it, then they themselves are worse than Benedict Arnold. They're what we would call loyalists. They're what the founding fathers would have called loyalists. If you don't think these particular acts are wrong, and the fact that they're even being suggested is not a hanging offense, then you do not belong in this country, because this is the way that America was designed. If we don't fucking hang these motherfuckers, then it will continue. Now, I have nothing but compassion for my fellow man. But I will tell you now, an act of treason is an act of treason, and there is nothing more to it, in my opinion. I told you all I would never, ever stand against an American citizen. but never harm an American citizen, because I love my countrymen. I'll also tell you now that any person who would stand for this and be willing to allow this is not an American citizen. Regardless of whether these bills are dead on arrival, the mere suggestion is an act of treason. I love my countrymen, I love my kin, but by God, I'll raise my hand to a motherfucker that does this shit. And I wouldn't raise my hand otherwise. I'll raise my hand to defend my countrymen, my kin, and myself. I'll raise my hand to defend my dog. There's very few things on this planet I'd raise my hand to defend. Hey, JH. Nice to see y'all. I'm an incredibly compassionate person myself. I see somebody harmed, I see somebody hurting, and I want to get over there and help them to stand back up and be on their own 2 feet. I want to do what I can to help people. It's literally in my blood. I can't stand to see a person sit there in a way that, they cannot defend themselves and they are being bullied and harmed. When I was in middle school, I was known as the bully's bully. I was the guy who went after bullies for fucking with other kids. They tried to fucking throw me under the jail for that as a juvenile, for stopping people from bullying other people. Tell me how about that is right. Because we knew the teachers wouldn't do shit. The principal wouldn't do shit. Them kids came to me, they were like, Blaine, please help me. Show me how. How do you keep these people from hurting you? I was more than happy to help them kids, man, who are now probably my age. Most of them, ones who didn't go to Iraq and Afghanistan and die over there. If y'all didn't know, one of my best friends from middle school died in Afghanistan. I've worked my damn life over to try and help other Americans. I went and I joined up with communities within the United States and within the wider world whose specific declared actions were to go out and render aid to help the Catholic man, to help the downtrodden, to bring people back to Christ. Shit, that's what the fucking Knights of Columbus was. And you know what's fucked up more so than that? My dues ain't paid anymore because I couldn't afford to, because they got outrageous fast. But I'd still stand with the Knights of Columbus if they wanted to. I will stand with any American citizen to help protect other American citizens. You bet. I normally would not stand against the federal government for any reason, except that the federal government is in the act of treason. This is one of those times. I will outright stand against them, the federal government, so much that they are moving in an action of treason. You ask me to forfeit my goods, my lifestyle, my equipment, my love, because you want me to fucking just sit back and take it up the ass? Not gonna happen. I turn, twist, cough, and snatch, motherfuckers. If y'all didn't know, that's actually a prison term. And no, I didn't spend any time in prison. I just know a lot of people who did. An awful lot of people who did. I'll put it this way. If these bills are even heard and nobody does anything, well, I'm not going to say anything now because you know what? That would be, I'd be creating a criminal myself. Fuck it. I can't say that. I want to. I tell you what I want to so bad, but you know, I'll wake up to this shit. And how the fuck am I supposed to even? How am I supposed to tolerate this? Yeah, of course Putin would back American citizens. You know why? You know why he would back American citizens in Texas against the federal government? It's because it makes his job easier. His job is to protect his own nation and to stand against the American government. Yeah, I'm holding my tongue on it because I can't be. There cannot be any premeditation in the situation. I'm just saying that I will outright flout that law. It could not be more so of an insult to my ancestors. Y'all seen my granddad's grave. That man stood as a Navy Seabee for decades. And then when he was done with that, he was always active in his community helping out people. My dad fucking did the same goddamn thing. He was a Knight of Columbus, third degree like myself. Used to always go out there and he ran the cookouts. He ran the freaking lemonade booth. He was the man trying to help people up out of the gutter. He would literally pull over on the side of the road if he saw somebody sitting there on the side of the road with a sign and says, "Come on, son, let's get you let's get you a warm meal. Let's get you a shower." So I ain't gonna fucking put up with it. I'll put it straight. I am mad. I am fucking mad that anyone would even have the wherewithal to suggest such a thing. Yes, they are, cuz that right there is 100%. That right there is absolute. Washington, D.C. is pissing all over Arlington Cemetery. They didn't pass it yet, but they're talking about the anti-paramilitary acts and the anti-militia acts of 2024. And the mainstream mislead you and all of the different shit. The very fact that it would even be talked about, the very fact anybody would even consider such a thing, that anyone would, is an act of treason. And I would hope that those of you who are trying to remain silent in your anger would at some point in time turn around and stand up and bring violence to your hand, if not to your voice. What these people are doing is an outright act of treason. And those of you who are in Congress who support the militias, who support the military, you should be dragging your colleagues out by their hair. If I was there in Congress with you, it would not be a manner of censure. I would be calling for the outright arrest of my colleagues for doing such things, for speaking such mannerisms. It's not just Joe and the Ho. In fact, they're not the ones introducing this legislation, funny enough. It's Congress members. Representatives, so-called. What the fuck are you representing? Because you're not representing America. You're representing foreign interests and powers. In so much, that is an act of military treason. By negating the Constitution itself and by negating the militia acts of 1790s and the 1780s, you are in so much committing an act of constitutional treason. You're absolutely right. They ain't Congress no more. But what, what are the law enforcement going to do? Because y'all in law enforcement in DC need to be doing this. You are the ones who are capable and have the actual policing powers for this. Nobody else does. I'm saying it outright. You who are the police and the sheriffs in Washington, D.C. have the ability to commit these people to arrest. And the fact that you are not means that you are foregoing your oath to the United States Constitution. Look, God is not going to make a difference in this. God's not going to do anything in this because God is not physical. This is a physical situation. God is ethereal. He is omnipresent and omnipotent, but he is ethereal. This is a physical problem. You need to be physically doing something, not just fucking sitting there and praying, because prayer only goes so far. And I hate to say it that way, but trust me when I says, prayer only goes so far. Faith without good works is death. And I'm sorry for my spleen, y'all. I ain't trying to be mean. I understand that what I'm saying is painful to listen to. It's hard to understand and hard, and it hurts the heart. But damn it, it needs to be said. You and I cannot stop this if we do not act. I want y'all to look at my little character name here. You remember what the story of the Ghost Rider is, right? The devil's bounty hunter who threw off the devil and outran him, took that power as his own and became the spirit of vengeance, the holy angel protector. I am asking you to be the Ghost Rider. I'm asking you to stand with me in that. Because in so much that community is all we have left. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Texas is on your doorstep. Pretty soon you won't need a TV because all you'll have to do is look out your window, look up, and boom. I'm not doubting God. I'm saying that God told us what to do. Specifically, through the apostles. And I quote, faith is great and good, but faith without action, therefore, too, also is death. If we do not act, then we allow that to happen. I am begging my brothers and sisters here in Christ and in America, whether or not you believe in Christ, stand up for yourselves. Stand up for our children. Because let me tell you something, if you think it doesn't affect you, it damn sure affects your children. And if I'm lying, motherfuckers, may God strike me down. May something strike me down. Right here, right now. Boom. I'm still here. Divine intervention will not make a difference here. We need more than God. We need more than guns and tanks. We need patriots. We need supermen. You're absolutely right there, Tay. There are no pussies in Texas. Including me. I'm in Texas. But I ain't no pussy. If you expect for God to do things for you instead of doing them yourself, then you do not understand the sermon of the man sitting on top of his house in the middle of Katrina and saying, "Don't worry, God will save me." I'll tell you that sermon, in fact. I'll be more than happy to, because that was one of the sermons that made it so that I am more than just a Christian. Okay? Because I watched Christians sit there and just talk out the side of their necks for years. So I'll go ahead and I'll tell you this sermon. Okay, so during the 2005 storm in the South, known as Katrina, man was sitting on top of his, he climbed up on top of his house as the floodwaters rose, and he put out his lawn chair and sat back and relaxed and cracked himself a beer, and he said, "You know what? I'm okay. God will save me." So then, boat pulls up next to his house, and this Cajun feller waves at him and says, "Hey, come on, brother. I want to get you out of here. I want to get you to safety." Man says, "Oh, don't worry about me. God will save me." Cajun feller looked at him with sadness in his eyes and took a deep breath and went, "All right." Drove on. He pulled his boat out, left the man there. And then the National Guard showed up in an airboat as the waters continued to rise. The National Guardsman, who was the commander of the boat, said, "Get your ass on this boat. We're getting you out of here. Let's go." Man said, Don't worry about me. Thank you, though, brother. God will save me." The National Guardsman hung his head. He knew that he couldn't force the man, but he also understood that nothing that he did was going to make a difference at that point. So he started his airboat up and he left, crying because he knew what the outcome would be. Then a helicopter flew in, United States Army, the best of the best, fucking not United States Army, United States Air Force, the parajumpers. They came in, they dropped a rope ladder down, and they said, "Come on, brother, get on before you drown." The man waved at him and said, "Don't worry, God will save me." Parajumper looked at him and said, he just shook his head, turned to the pilot. The pilot just flew off because they knew they couldn't force the man to get off of the roof. They couldn't force him to go to somewhere where he'd be safe. Well, the waters continued to rise, and the man drowned to death. And so the man's standing there at the pearly gates, and he asked Jesus, "Lord, you said that you would save me. Why didn't you?" And Jesus literally looked him in the eye, smacked him across the face, and said, "You dumb motherfucker! I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter." The point is, we can pray to God all we want, but until we're ready to do something about it, all we're doing is just waving off aid. The whole point of the sermon is to point out to you what I mean by faith without good works is death. One of the most powerful sermons I've ever heard in my life. That sermon was told to me by Monsignor, what was his name? Monsignor Anthony. To this day, I remember that fucking sermon, and I am very, very thankful for hearing it. Because otherwise, I would have continued going on with, well, I want to help, I want to do good things, but let's just pray about it. Instead of, no, God's trying to tell me, get off your ass and go do something, son, because I'm wanting you to. You are my knight. You are my actor. You are my good soldier. You are my sword and my shield in the action of protecting my people. Yeah. I lived in California for a while. Matter of fact, I was born there. I was born in Torrance. I'm the kind of person who, somebody points a gun in my face, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look at him and I'm going to smile and I'm going to wait for him to look away and then I'm going to snatch the gun away from him and beat him across the head with it. I'm not the kind of person who's just going to act like, oh, nothing's wrong. This is fine. And no, Texas is no more of America than California is. I'm going to tell you that right now. I can fucking carry a gun in California the same amount as I could carry in Texas. Let that blow your fucking mind. I actually looked at the law. It's Section 46, pertaining to weapons. Section 46 of the Texas Penal Code. I am willing to break that law by all means, because let me point out to you, it is unlawful. It is completely contra to the Bruin decision. It is completely contra to the intention of the Second Amendment. But Go ahead, keep believing that, the state of Texas is America. It's not. It is the state of confusion, just like California is. It is fraught with liberal policy. You can carry a gun on your hip, but if you ever use it in order to protect other people, you're not protected by the law. You are damned by it. State of California, you can carry a concealed weapon while you are licensed, but you can't use it to protect people. The moment you do, you are damned by the law. You and I believe the same thing, cuz, but it doesn't matter. You and I are individuals. And these laws are destroying our nation. Because they supersede the laws that were already in place and set up to protect Americans. I'll tell you this. If these new bills in Congress were to pass, which they won't, but if they were to pass, what I just did here by going and repairing a fence would be a criminal act. Literally just the repair of a fucking barbed wire fence. Only the laws which are enforced are law. Let's be clear. The very existence of them means they are enforceable. But the fact of the matter is it's up to the officer involved to enforce them or not. It is up to the justice involved to allow that enforcement to continue or not. I know this shit inside and out. I've been studying it for years. Since I was, 4 years old? I have known what the actual meaning of the Second Amendment is and how it pertains to American citizens individually. Since I was 4. Count that. 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4. Last night I stopped an illegal crossing with nothing more than my knowledge and my voice. And I did so legally. So let me ask you this. What the fuck have you done lately? I acted alone. I mean, yes, I had help from the other side of this gigantic fucking field to my right here. Border Patrol agents and, Minutemen. But let me show you how big that fucking field is. Can you see this? That is a big goddamn field. It was pitch black last night, and I could still see these people. I asked the same question of the Justice of the Peace when I was standing in a courtroom. You know what he said? God did. That's what a Justice of the Peace said. Us says, who died and made you God? God did. Well then, if God's dead, my point is that all of this action against American citizens is going unchallenged because Americans are not willing to challenge it outright. And when you say, well, why not? They turn around and tell you, well, you remember January 6th, right? Yeah, I remember January 6th. I remember how there were no guns in evidence. I remember how people were standing there yelling and holding signs, but they were not being violent. Yeah, no, Jesus wasn't always kumbaya. I want nothing more than to help Americans. That is the only thing I've ever asked for, is to be in an action of aid. To be in service to my fellow man. Apparently, that's not okay anymore. If it's not okay to help my fellow American, to help my fellow man, then I'll put it this way. We all bleed red. Your blood may be blue while it's inside of you, but we all bleed red. I'm not giving up. I will never give up. I'm not going to give up. You'll have to kill me. I love my country. I love my guns. And any man that want to try to change that, they have to go through me. And that should be all our attitudes. And I says, country boy strong. My patriotic fervor knows no bounds. As I said, you will have to kill me. I am equipped to protect my nation. I am equipped with knowledge and goodwill. But I am also equipped with the knowledge and training to be the most ungodly man alive. I look around me, I pray that my fellow Americans have the same kind of gumption, the same kind of will. Because I know that without that, we've lost before we've even begun. Nej, ja, då Starford. I've always said it. I love my fellow American, and I will do whatever I can to help. I guess it's not enough anymore. Well, he wants to take a piss, but there's too many people around. I can't let him out because he does not do well on a leash. And he's not listening to my orders without his freaking harness on. And even when he's got his harness on, he still has a little bit of hard-headedness to him. Don't get me wrong, he is a very talented dog, but I can't let him loose right now. And it's not like it's anyone else's fault. That ain't even his fault. That's his biology. Just what it is. Yeah, they're all sitting there listening to my rant, but they don't want to talk. Because they think, they probably think like we do, or they think against us, and they're in the FBI and are trying to destroy our nation. Any and all actors, whether federal or private, who are acting in an effort against the American citizen are therefore in an act of treason and doing harm. And I need not say elsewise. And just so we're clear, hi, I'm Blaine Price. I am a Minuteman, and I have served this nation for 14 fucking years in an effort to aid American citizens. I've never had anything but love for my fellow American. But if you are going to be a Benedict Arnold in this nation, well, you have only one response from me, and you know where you can stick that. I know it. There's nothing we can do about it. Except there's everything that we can do about it if people will stand together. You know, everybody hates on Nickelback, but I want to point out they have one of the most powerful songs I've ever heard in my life. It's called We Must Stand Together. Go ahead and look it up. If you don't have the wherewithal to actually swallow your pride and understand the message behind the song, Well, I can't help you. Because the message behind the song is unity. And I don't know no more. A nation united can never be divided. But divided we fall in the land of the free. So, yeah. I will personally consider any legislation which goes in a direct action against the Constitution and the American citizens as a whole or as individuals as void and repugnant to a free and honest society. It's a bit of a blend between yours truly and JFK. I will bleed on the fucking flag to make sure the stripes stay red. That's about that. So, whatever these militia acts are, I don't fucking know what they are, but they should not be. They shouldn't even be voiced. They should be destroyed in their utter situation. And those who are the ones who would introduce them need to be dragged out of their offices and placed on display for the entire country to see. You are charged with treason. I'll be more than happy to show up in order to freaking voice that. An act of treason. That's what they are. Outright, it is an act of treason. We used to hang traitors in this country. Hell, we used to put them up against a fucking pole and shoot them dead. Now, we elect them to Congress. Yes, good people are patient. But we are very quickly losing our patience. As should be. It has been said that we sleep peacefully in our beds at night because rough men stand ready in the night to visit violence upon those who would visit violence upon us. I question you. Where are those rough men? Where are you now? Jeez, I am bleeding like freaking crazy. That's where a piece of steel came out of my face. Well, y'all know what my fucking views on it is. Go ahead, send my video to your local congressman. Pick up your phones, call them, and if they won't hear you out, pick up your rifles, because you're going to need them. Train. Because someday your children will need you. And I won't always be here. I want to be, but I won't always be. I mean, it's an awful lot of blood for nothing more than a piece of fucking steel being squeezed out of my face. A piece of steel no bigger than a grain of sand at that. I believe we have been patient long enough. And if we're not going to stand up now, then we ain't going to stand up. And we'll just go quietly into that good night. I, for one, will be running through the woods. I, for one, will hunt those who hunt me. I'm a predator hunter by nature. To those who would predate upon me, know that your days are numbered, and that my compassion is only so far. I love my fellow American, but I will not be supplanted by that love. I will not be stopped from my duties. My duty is the protection of American citizens. And by writing a piece of legislature which would negate that, you are declaring outwardly and openly that you are in effect an act of treason and would rather be treasonous than be representative of your countrymen. I've never been ashamed to call myself an American, because I know how I would stand for my fellow Americans. I've never been ashamed to call myself an American. Today, I am ashamed that those who would call themselves an American would introduce such hateful legislature. With so much the interest to allow harm to American citizens because you would not allow them to be willing to defend themselves and others. That you would even suggest such a thing is therefore an act of treason outright. One that anyone who is a true patriot, a true American, would see as a direct threat placed directly at their feet. My mission that I have chosen to accept is to protect America. And as much as those who are in a capacity of whatever enforcement they consider themselves to be in, that would stand against that, to you I say, God bless you, because otherwise no one will. You have acted in an egregious manner against American citizens. May you reap the whirlwind. The rest of you who love America and do everything in your power, protect American citizens, to protect this country that we love so much, and stand to your rights and your responsibilities, I salute you. I understand I am not confused in any way, shape, or form as to what I am doing, who I would help, and as to why I stand forwards, as patriotic as it can be. I am not confused. I know what my duties are. I see a man stuck on the side of the road, can't get his car to start. I pull over, I give him a jump start, or I help him work on his car, or this, that, or the other. I see a man in the gutter, lost his legs, fighting for this country. I don't go then and turn around and hand money to a fucking illegal immigrant who came to this country and spat on that man. I instead reach out and say, here, brother, let me help you. And anyone who would do otherwise, shame. You are not my kin. You are not my countrymen. I disown you. And I do not feel pain in my heart for standing against you. I set my face against you, and I set my sword against you, as is righteous. For those of you who don't know what I was just quoting, I beg you read 2 Kings. Because believe it or not, that comes straight out the fucking Bible. Minus the American part. Comes straight out of the Bible. This is not the UK. This is not Mexico. This is America. This is not Australia. This is not fucking the European Union or Russia or China or Thailand or Taiwan or New Zealand. This is America. The fact that you would work in an effort against Americans, that right there tells me you should be in prison for the rest of your natural given life or be set to the firing squad. For the act of treason. I've spoken my piece. I have said what has to be said. I am satisfied. My ancestors are satisfied. My heart is at peace. I'm still fucking disgusted. As it stands, this has been Yo Guardsman. I'm pointing out to you that there are fucking traitors in our midst and we need to deal with them. Lawfully, appropriately. That is outlined in the Constitution of how to deal with such. I'll bid you all a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my heart. Here's my hand. I'm Yo Guardsman, motherfuckers. I am out.